Good evening, everybody. My name is Crystal, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And welcome to a more laid back version of myself where I do not get cross and start ranting and raving and shouting. Because there's just no point to it. It falls on deaf ears anyway. When you rant and you shout and you rave, no one really listens to a word you're saying. It's like shouting at someone who's completely deaf. They can't hear a word you're saying and you're just making a fool of yourself. So it also, stress causes some serious illnesses. Along with heartburn and ulcers, you can give yourself a heart attack. And these people laughing at you, ranting and raving, they don't give a shit if you have a heart attack. In fact, they probably laugh while you're having one. Because they're just hangers on. They're people that are watching you disintegrate, deteriorate and fall apart. And they find it funny, which I know is sick, but they're not normal, so there you go. Alexa, good evening.
Good evening.
Alexa, what's the time, please?
The time is 8:34 p.m.
Alexa, when's the next full moon?
The next full moon will be on the 14th of March at 6:55 a.m.
Sorry, I'm just into horror films at the moment. Werewolves are supposed to come out when there's a full moon. Werewolves. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to my world. So, basically, this afternoon I took Max for a walk around 2 o'clock-ish, and we just had a completely brilliant walk around the field by ourselves, and I was able to let Max off the lead and we took it slowly. It was brilliant. I came back to my flat. We'd had the post. I'd had a letter from Barclays about the fraud on my bank account. I'd spoken to my mother, who shouted at me, and I didn't shout back, and I didn't get cross, and I didn't do anything bad, because what's the point? So I came back into my flat and I just potted about. I got some washing done. I got washing up done, washing done. I got a load of things done. I'd cooked myself meatballs and spaghetti. I'd eaten. I wasn't in the slightest bit depressed. I was just completely normal. With all these things coming at me to try and make me cross, and it didn't succeed. Why should it? When you learn to just not get cross about anything. So later on, I put on the Alexa. I still haven't got a television. My television's been broken, just like my mother's. Uncanny. I can't wait to get rid of that old TV set, because I'm just stood at a blank screen. And so I'm watching this little tiny screen, Alexa, YouTube on it.
Here is YouTube.
And I just watched an old 1970s film about a plane crash, flight and a number. And it was about people being killed on this flight, and one of them was one of the stewardesses. So a 1970s film, and there was murder and crime about in the 1970s. I told you, because we've got social media, it highlights it more. and you think that it's something new, but it isn't. There was crime in the 1970s, just as bad as there is now, but there was no internet to spread it everywhere. So I watched this film about these murders on this flight, this 1970s plane flight. And after that, I started watching the Tommyknockers last night, horror film, the Tommyknockers. They pull their own teeth out. It's really quite scary. Alien ship, all these alien type creatures on it. And I went to bed watching it. And I wanted to watch the end of it. So I put the Tommyknockers on. I'm into my Stephen King's and my James Herbert horror books and horror films, because I used to, as a teenager, read Stephen King, Christine the Car. So I watched the end of the Tommyknockers. And I had to walk Max in the dark by myself like I did yesterday, and we came into contact with this fox with the bright eyes. One thing I do not want to be is manipulated, brainwashed or controlled anymore. So I don't listen to other people. I don't listen to what they're saying, and I don't get brainwashed, manipulated. I'm not somebody's play toy. So basically, from that, I put on Sherlock Holmes, and it came on about a case with vampires and vampire bats. So it was all horror this afternoon and early this evening. So I'm sat in my flat by myself. I was getting messages from Facebook, and someone had said to me that I've got eyes bright blue like the Aegean Sea in Greece, and my face looked like Satan, the devil. And that's before I had to go out and walk Max for this evening walk. And I don't think they meant it literally. And I said, well, that's a Pokemon hat. I know it's got like scary eyes, but that's Pokemon. I had a profile picture of myself wearing a Gengar Pokemon beanie. I suppose in a way it does look like the devil, but it's not the devil, it's just a Pokemon beanie hat. Anyhow, I then had a message saying, would you like to meet me? And I just said, yeah, if you like. So it gets to 10 to 7, usual time I take my dog out. And if it gets ridiculous, I'll start going out about 12 o'clock midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll start varying the times I go outside if I keep getting trouble. I will. So basically, I put my parka coat on, I put my blue beanie hat on, I put Max's lead on, and I took Max outside. It was pitch black in the hallway. So I steps out my door, the security light comes on, lock my door, go down the stairs and straight outside. And then as I'm walking round the corner road to go round the back of the flats through the car park, there's a girl looking at me, and she's got a little black dog, and she goes, come on, and they walk off. Then as I'm walking up towards crossing the road, there is a load of cars coming down the road that's right opposite the co-op, and you've got to be careful you don't get knocked down. So I just waited for these cars to go by me. A lot of them overhang the pavement as well, and if someone's in there and you don't know they're in there, the front of their car is overhanging the pavement and it can knock into your legs, so you have to be careful. Then I noticed a woman with long black hair and glasses walking two dogs with red flashing collars. And I let her go onto the field, and I just take things easy. I stay well back and I keep away, and I just watch Max, and he was very good. There was a lot of dogs outside this evening, and sometimes he starts, getting anxious, but because I am laid back and I'm not anxious, he is taking the lead from me, and he remained calm. There was a lot of people outside this evening with big dogs, small dogs, more than one dog, and he literally was really well behaved. And it must have been stressful for him because he's tiny. And there's all these noises outside. There's train whistles, the sounds of trains on the tracks, people in cars being loud, whether it's stereos, laughing, screaming, whatever. You get a lot of that at night. He was really well behaved. So this woman goes in front of me, she walks the two dogs, and then she must have just walked around a little part of the field and gone off. So I walked all the way around the field by myself with Max, and when I came back she was gone. There was nobody on that field at all. And I hate walking back home. I hate it because you just don't know what you're going to expect. I mean, there are lunatics outside at night. They shouldn't be out, and they certainly shouldn't be driving cars. Honestly. So I started walking down. I'm a woman by myself. I'm trying to make sure Max is safe because he's tiny, and if you've got some lunatics in a car on drugs driving fast down the fucking road, they can run him over and drag him under the car wheels, right? Let's be honest here. So I was walking down the road. There was a woman that looked like the replica of the woman on the field, long dark hair with glasses, and she looked like she'd been into the co-op and got a couple of items. So she was walking fast. She had about 2 items of shopping in her hand. She started walking really fast, like she was scared of me. Remember, I went to the co-op this morning. I bought myself a £2.40 Magnum lolly. I'd fucking eaten. There's no way that I would steal 4 pints of milk out of someone's hand. I mean, honestly. So she'd gone. She'd rushed past me with this 4 pints of milk. And then suddenly I heard this car going up the main road towards the co-op, and there was 4 or 5 people in it. And I turned round to look what the fuck that was. And it's a good job I did, because out of nowhere comes this, wasn't a light blue car and it wasn't a dark blue car. It was it was a blue car, but it wasn't dark blue and it wasn't aqua. And it sped round the corner. Now, because I'd heard these idiots in this car going up the road like stoned inside a car, I stood back to see what was going on. And then I see this blue car come up speeding in a residential area right round the fucking corner. Now, if I'd have walked halfway into that road, that car would have knocked me and Max over. It would have, if I'd have been in the, obviously, if I hadn't have heard those twats making that noise, I probably would have got knocked down, or Max would have. But because I heard them making a racket, I pulled Max to the corner and I turned round and this car was speeding round the corner so fast that if I'd have been in the road, me and Max would have got run down. There was an incident this afternoon where a black guy in a white van was delivering to the bottom flats, and I was coming round the corner with Max, and he started reversing whilst I was walking over the road. He started reversing backwards, and I got myself onto the pavement quickly. Some people shouldn't be driving vehicles, they're just not fit to drive a car, basically. There is no need to speed in residential areas. There's people walking dogs, there's elderly people with Zimmer frames and fucking people in wheelchairs. There is no need to speed at high speed round the corner of a residential area where there's really no way out either. No. There's no need for that. So I think they was making a racket in this blue car, and I think they thought I was going to start shouting, but I don't shout and I don't get cross. I just walked on. I was in the corner because I saw it coming. Maniacs, absolute maniacs. Oh, I went to look to see if there was any properties available to move into, and they've actually put the over 50, I qualify for an over 55s flat. So they've given me an option of bidding on one of those flats up the top of the road. I told you that my victim support worker is getting in contact with me next week sometime, and the call's going to take about an hour. I'm going to be on the phone for about an hour talking to this victim support lady. That should be fun. Yeah. I think I'm just going to have to stop walking around the back of the flats. I'm going to have to stop doing it. I saw someone on TikTok, similar thing, walking across the road. The one car was going slow, and then this car just comes out of nowhere and he fucking flies into the air. Speeding. Come into my flat, and I think it's just a ruse to get me cross. There's a lot of noise going on next door, and I hadn't got cross with the car driver at all. I mean, if they're stoned inside a car and they're making so much noise, they're not going to hear you fucking shouting at them anyway. It's a waste of breath. It's just done to make you shout and get cross when they could have run me or my dog over. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're mad. Lunatics. I told you I went out for a walk last year just to you know, find my feet and look for different places. Fucking delivery driver decides to drive on the pavement, not look where he's going, and head straight towards me on the pavement. And it happened down there as well. Driving on the pavement towards me, trying to stop me getting out of my flat. Scaring me, scaremongering me, so I don't go outside, because they're committing fraud. I believe some is also pinching my YouTube videos and possibly my TikTok, passing themselves off as me, and they're trying to keep me indoors while they're committing all this fraudulent fraud and whatever they're doing. Making money off my videos when I don't make money. I'm fucking poor. They're obviously breaking the law, because why on earth would they try and stop me getting out of my flat? I mean, it's bad enough just going up to the shop to get some groceries, for fuck's sake. I was walking my dog and this van comes out of nowhere and starts driving on the fucking pavement. And he's not looking where he's going, he's like fucking looking out the side window, and this van's rolling towards me. And I'm on the path. Well, you've seen, I've read a piece in the paper about what the Labour government is doing, letting prisoners out early. What's the point of reporting a crime? The whole place is dangerous. It's everybody from themselves out there. It is. Anyway, guys, I'm going to make myself a hot drink before night time, find another horror film to watch, and I will not lose my temper. It's pointless. You're wasting your breath. They're on something. They're not normal. They ain't going to hear what you're saying anyway. They find it amusing. I find them amusing. I really do. Because they're fucking nuts. See you later.